Well, it's time for another update on my international pickup frame swap project. Apologize, it's been so long since my last update. It's winter up in Canada, and I decided to take a month off and spend it someplace warmer. But I'm back now and eager to get working on the truck again. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about steering column, brake pedal, all that type of stuff. But before I do, just thought I'd show you these new wheels and tires I put on there. Well, not new. They're old, and I got them super cheap. I just wanted to see if 33s would fit on there, and they fit nice. I don't think I'm going to have a problem with rubbing or anything. I think that should work. I could probably even go with 34s. But I think I'll stick with the 33s because a 33 is the maximum size I can get to fit where that spare tire carrier is. I'm going to have to take that old bracket off of there and build a new one in there, but I tried it just with the bare tire, and if I rest the tire right down into this recess here and have it supported by that, it just clears the cab. So I think that will look nice too with another big 33-inch tire on the side of it for a spare. What I had on before were these 18-inch rim. It's a 31-inch tire. Just roll it up against this other tire so you can kind of get an idea of the difference. Yeah, you can kind of see the difference in height there. 2 inches taller. And these wheels that I've got on here are off of a GMC Yukon, and they're a 16-inch wheel, and I think that looks nice with the 33-inch rubber. It's actually a 285/75/16 tire on there, which is about 33 inches tall. Cadillac had these 18-inch wheels and 31-inch tires on it. Just didn't look right, in my opinion, with this truck. It needs the bigger rubber and the smaller wheels, and I think this is the look I want. So anyway, I'm happy with that. Now to talk about steering and brakes and all that type of stuff. I'm using a GMC column in there, a Chevy column. I think it's out of a 73 Monte Carlo, and I've just got things kind of roughly fabbed up right now. You can see I've got a little band support that goes around it. The original column in the International was smaller, and I couldn't use the band that came on that column, so I had to come up with something new here. So I basically took the old bracket that was on the original column, and on it I welded this ring, and that ring is actually, see if I can see it up front here, is one of these idler pulleys. I had an extra one of those. I just cut the ring off around the outside. It was the same diameter as the steering column and fairly thick. And that's what I'm using for a clamp there. And then I welded these bolts onto it, and this whole thing will clamp together. I'll weld this better and cut these heads off and make it look pretty. But right now it's just kind of a test fit in there, and I think that will work. And I was able to keep the old support going from the cowl or the firewall back to the dash, and on it I was able to mount the brake pedal from the Escalade and put a hole through there into the Hydro Boost, and I'll show that in a second. And that worked out good too, but I had to shorten up the brake pedal. The brake pedal was way too long. So you can see what I did there is I cut it off and I overlapped the two sections, welded them, and then also tapped the one side and put a couple of bolts in there. I trust my welds, but I do not want that to break. That would be horrible. If that did break, I'm sure it wouldn't, but this is double redundancy with the bolts and the welds. Yeah, that's not coming apart at all. Had to change the angle on a little bit too to get the proper angle. Also had to shorten up the accelerator pedal a little bit. It's a drive-by wire unit. Had to do cutting, take about what was it, maybe 1.5 inches out of the accelerator pedal to make it feel comfortable. And I'm going to clean that up a little bit and paint it too. You can see up top there the top part of the accelerator pedal. And I've tried it out sitting in here, and it feels pretty comfortable now. Got things about right. Steering column, I'm going to have to do some cutting into the firewall here. You see where it sits there? I'm going to have to cut a little piece out, and then also out of the floorboards, I'm going to have to cut a piece out of there and put that all together and make it fit. And I've got a pretty good shot going down to there, and I've got a piece of I guess steering linkage that will hook these two pieces together and make that work. So I think that will all come together good. The brake booster is also out of the Escalade, and that's a Hydro Boost unit. And to get it onto the firewall, I had to find out a way to make it fit over top of these, I guess you'd call them beads or something, that were factory rolled into the firewall to give it strength. And this flat piece from the brake booster wouldn't fit up against there because of those relief pieces there. So what I did is actually took a couple of cutting boards, like the type you'd use in your kitchen for cutting up vegetables. I got a couple of those from the dollar store, and you can see I cut one so it fits around those recesses. You can maybe see a little bit on this side here too. How I cut that. And then I put another one over top to make it solid, and that makes it nice and flat, and I can bolt it together. And the Hydro Boost unit is solid on there. I'm going to have to get new hoses. The hoses are too short that came with this, but I'll get some longer hoses made up, and then the Hydro Boost will work. Up front here, you can see I welded together a little support for the front end, for the front clip, and it's got some rubber mounts on it too, and that was fairly simple, but it makes the front end nice and solid on there. So anyway, now I'll work on the floor and clean up all this stuff, and I'll show you what it looks like after that. Well, I got the floor panel in, and well, not too bad. It was from a different vehicle, and it wasn't in the best shape, this panel. It had a lot of surface rust on it. You can see some of the pitting over there. So I wire brushed the whole thing, and after I finished patching it up, you can see there's all kinds of places it's been patched. There's a great big hole where the clutch and the brake went through in the floor. I had to patch that up. So after I was done patching it up, I gave it a coat of paint. It's not the color I'm going to use on the truck. It's just spray can I kicking around here. Wanted to paint it before I put it in to protect a lot of that bare metal after going over it with a wire wheel. But anyway, it's in, and worked out not too bad. Also cut the hole for the steering column, and it goes mostly through the floorboards. You can see it maybe better from this side here. Just a little corner cut up into the firewall there, and I was able to reuse the seal that came with the steering column. It was from the 73 Chevy, and I found a 2.5-inch hole saw. Worked out just about perfect. I cut that out and was able to stuff that seal around the shaft there and bolt it down to the floor, so that should be nice and solid in there. Also back here, you can see I cleaned up that band a little bit, but after I put this column in, I realized that just clamping it on this section here didn't keep this section from turning. It turns independent of that. So I had to find a way to stop this from turning. And what I did is there's these two holes on each side that originally mounted into the Chevy. I just built a bracket back up to that support that goes from the firewall to the dash, and that is actually extra security as well. It keeps the column from turning, but also being supported on both sides there with this bracket makes it almost impossible for that column to come loose. Let's say if a weld was to break or something like that. It's two things you do not want coming loose when you're driving is either the brake pedal coming off or the steering. So I've got some redundancy on there, which is good. That dash is just an old dash that I had kicking around. I figured I'd use that to mock this up. I've got a better dash that I'm going to use once this is finished. With the steering here too, I was able to hook it up to the steering box on the Escalade, and I was able to repurpose the piece that came from the 73 Chevy, and it actually fit in there, so I just had to drill a hole in it and put a bolt in, and it works good. I lifted up the front end with the jack here and just turned the wheel and went lock to lock with it and made sure there's no binding or anything like that. No, it works nice and smooth, so that is good. Inside here, you'll notice I've got a mat in there, and I'm just experimenting with that. Actually, that's a piece of rubber gym mat. It's 3/8 of an inch thick, and I had bought a sheet of that to put in the back of my side-by-side. This is a Honda Pioneer 700, and it's got the jump seats that pop up in the bed. So actually this bed converts to an extra 2 seats, which is nice. But when you fold the seats down and want to haul like firewood or sand and stuff like that, it gets down into the seats and makes a real mess. So I bought this gym mat and cut it down to size and fit it in there. I kind of thought about using it in the truck as flooring, but I figured that's probably too heavy, and especially after working with it here, there's no way that is that going to work. It is tough to cut too. I had to cut it with a jigsaw to make it work, but once I figured out how to cut it, it wasn't that bad. But anyway, I just thought I'd try it in the truck, and I think the floor is actually flat enough in this International here that I think I can get away with using that, which would be great. So I think I'm going to get another sheet of this stuff and then use it right up into here, this area. I don't think I can get it to contour over this part of the tunnel, so I'll probably have to cut and maybe glue a piece in. But it comes in 4x6 sheets, and that should be enough to go across here and come back to right about where this seam is right now, right about there. So I'll have to have a seam there, but I think I can hide that. So anyway, I might give that a try. It's nice because it's really heavy, and I think it might provide some sound deadening, and it kind of spans over top of all the little recesses and indentations that were formed into the floor well there, or floorboards, and actually works out better than I thought, so I'm pleased about that. I might give that a try. Tried sitting in there, everything feels pretty comfortable. I think that'll work. The tilt is nice on the column there. You can get it set at the right angle. What else have I got here? I think that might be it, but before I leave, my channel hit a milestone while I was gone on holidays there. I just checked it the other day, and I now have over 1,000 subscribers. I think last time I checked it was 1,010. Wow, never expected to get 1,000 subscribers. Knowing there's people out there watching and following along really helps motivate me do these projects and post these videos. So yeah, thanks so much for doing that. Really do appreciate it. Really does help. I'll always look forward to hearing your comments and suggestions. So yeah, please keep those coming. Next, I think, is either shifter, both transmission and transfer case, or I might work on the seat belts. I'm not sure what next, but you'll be aware as soon as I'm done. Thanks for watching.